In this video, I wanted to talk about a few of the differences between a guy who has the mindset of a man in comparison to a guy who has the mindset of an adolescent in the workplace. So the first thing you might notice about someone who has the mindset of an adolescent: inappropriate presentation. This type of guy you might expect will come to work with their pants sagging down off their bottom. They don't wear a belt. You might notice that they might not even wash their clothes that often, so they're happy to come to work with a brown ring around their neck. They may have an odor problem and haven't really taken into consideration how their colleagues may feel about them having this odor problem. Rather than realizing that if they just washed on a daily basis, then that could eliminate this problem. Or even if it didn't eliminate this problem and you needed further help, then you could bring a rag and some deodorant into work and have a little halftime freshen up in your lunch break. But they don't consider these things because it's not really an issue for them. Another thing you might notice is that they might not be shaven. You might notice this in a lot of younger guys actually, that they go through what's called the grizzly look. Not realizing that this grizzly look isn't a well-kept presentation of themselves. It's actually, more times than not, it just looks like pubic hairs, to be frank, on their face. Not realizing that if they just shaved often, then that would actually encourage the growth anyway. Now, you might be a guy who's like myself, who likes a full-length beard, and that's okay. But what you need to do is make sure that you're presenting that well. Keep it trim, keep it presentable, shape it up. And that will help keep the presentation of a full-length beard be a bit more respectable. Now, what you've got to realize is that a lot of people will make assumptions based on how you present yourself. So people will assume that you're going to turn up to work late, just on the basis that you look like you've just got out of bed. You look like it's taking you 5 minutes to get yourself ready. You look and smell like you haven't had a wash this morning because your odor is high. And based on that, they can only assume that they can't trust you with other responsibilities within the company. You don't care for yourself, so why would you care for responsibilities that they've given you within the company? And this is all based on just their assumption on how you look. So it's important to let your presentation set the tone for their expectation. Second thing you'll notice about these guys: they have a nonchalant attitude when it comes to work. They turn up to work late and have no real reason as to why they were late. And when they are asked to give a reason, their excuse is something like, "You know what, my alarm clock didn't go off, you know." Whose fault is that? These guys will come up with this excuse on a daily basis, thinking that it's a genuine reason, but it's not a genuine reason. It's not something like, "You know what, my house was flooded," or "I was in a car crash." These are things that are out of their control, but something like your alarm clock, that's well within your control. They use this as an excuse on a daily basis. The other thing you might notice is that these guys are called back from lunch. I mean, what's that about? This isn't school. There's not a bell that tells everybody it's time to get back from lunch now. You're not going to have a teacher that comes and drags you in because your lunch break is over. You're paid and you're there to do a job. You need to be able to manage your time and you want to be treated like an adult, act like an adult, and come back from your lunch break when you're finished. But these guys don't do that. Another thing they do, they have a target, but they never hit it. Be it on a weekly basis, or a monthly basis, they never hit that target. And you know what? They're not really too bothered about it. What these guys need to remember is that they're getting paid 100% of their salary to do what was agreed in their contract. Now, whether they like it there or not, that's what they're there to do. These guys are building a freeloader mentality. They're getting paid 100% of their salary when they're only getting 50% of the work done. These guys quit easily. Either they have no real reason to work, or they have no obligations to their responsibilities. As soon as somebody rubs them up the wrong way, or perhaps their targets change, or even their friends are leaving them, bam, they're off. They have no concern as to where their next paycheck's coming from, or even when they're gonna get another job. These guys are happy to add to somebody else's load and have somebody else support them financially. You'll notice that there's a clear difference when a guy is operating in his manhood at the workplace. The first noticeable difference that you'll see is that this guy is punctual. He makes sure that he's ready and waiting to start work on his contracted hours. Now, this might mean he actually gets to work early enough to prepare his day. Get the things that he needs done before he actually starts work so that he can actually start promptly on his contracted hours. He realizes that every day he enters work, he's solidifying his reputation. For this guy, it's important that he's seen to be consistent, he's seen to be dependable, as this is what makes him a valuable member of the team. This guy is productive. He makes sure he achieves 100% of his target or his contractual agreement as a bare minimum every day. The way he works, he's quite competent at his job. So people actually trust him to get on with his job unassisted. There is no need to micromanage this guy. And in fact, the way he works can actually be used as an example to others within the company. This guy is purposeful. He knows exactly why he's at this job. Be it to work from the bottom of the ladder all the way to the top, or he's there just as a basic means of provision for his family during these hard times. Either way, the reasons why he's at this job makes him so resilient, it makes him driven, and it makes him committed to the job, whether he likes the current position or not. Because this guy sees the bigger picture. So as you can see from some of the points I've mentioned, your attitude and your work ethic really do reflect your values and beliefs, be it good or bad. And this is a key indication as to whether you're operating in manhood or whether you have the mindset of an adolescent. I just wanted to share a few ways how you can actually tell when a guy is actually living at their parents' house under the mindset of a man, and the difference to that of someone who is of an adolescent mindset. So let's get into what we tend to expect from someone who has the mindset of an adolescent living at their parents' home. First thing you might